Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. Early this morning, I want to take a moment and share with you some stuff that I perhaps have shared with you sketchingly, but in a way that you couldn't really get a clear understanding. What I want to say to you is that most of the time that I've talked to you in terms of the political expressions here in America, political scenes that is existing all over the world. For some strange reason, it is set up that way, even though the systems vary and their administrations vary. But they're all under the same guidance of evil. Evil, I say evil because while there are so many good things that happen, the result also includes pain and suffering. And that is not a good thing for anybody. No one wants this. And if you're going to have a governmental system that is set up that would allow this to happen, it is a flawed governmental system. And I say that because the true system, the only system that is real, has been set up for everybody to live here on this earth in these bodies during the times that they exist as if they are in heaven. Why do I say that? Because all of the resources necessary to meet any imagination that they might come up with, including the ability that each of them who would benefit from the manifestation of what they do to engage in the process of creating those things, making them part owners of all the things that exist. That way no man is any bitter with another man, no man is put down with another man, no man is lifted up with another man. All men are lifted up, and it is only God that guarantees this. And we implement it by following the basic principles of that, of doing unto others as we would have others do unto us. This seems to be a very complicated matter, but this is what God requires of those who have come into that knowledge of God, those who have chosen the path, who says, I'm born again. They would live, who have been living in a world where the pain and suffering exists. They cannot continue to live in that kind of world anymore. Sure, in the beginning, they were all growing together, those who weren't thinking about God and changing, and those that were. Those that were, some of them, or one of them, came to a point where they actually were born again of the Spirit. Then they began to see the world of peace and prosperity and freedom and joy and the fulfillment of dreams. And they started being disgusted with the world of lying and cheating and stealing and killing and hating and racism and bigotry and robbery and murder and war. They got tired of that, so they didn't want to have any part of that. But here they are now, living in a world that says in order for you to live, in order for you to have food, clothing, shelter, and any kind of education, any kind of health care, you got to be a part of this system. You got to take allegiance to this system. In America, it's following the Constitution, even though the people who got privilege don't do it. And every government, some places, got the guidelines that you must follow. But all of the guidelines allow the manifestation of poverty. Nobody wants it, but it's going to happen because the system is set up to benefit off of others. And so, ladies and gentlemen, where you find yourself is that when now you're born again and you still need everything that you needed before, just like everybody else, but now you see an enemy that's there blocking it. And it is an enemy. To you, it is an enemy that's sitting there denying the presentation of God's kingdom. And God is not going to do any more for the individual to lift it up, to make it happen, than He is for making the evil people who wake up. No, they're going to have to want to wake up. But you're going to have to stand up and give them something to want for. Right now, when it comes down to God, people don't want God. People are not hungry for God unless they find themselves sick and dying. Then they start thinking about God. But in the beginning, God has been, vilified such and so presented in such an evil, ugly kind of way that people want to have what? You want people want to look pretty. They taught you that God is against that. People might want to put on some fingernail polish to make their nails, give their imagination something to express itself on the nails. They taught you that God was against that. People might want to go out and dance and socialize at a party, drink some wine, but then taught you that God is against that. They taught you that because that is not the truth. That is something that people who know God can tell you. You can't read that in a book. You don't know what that means. And that's all you have. Somebody talking to you about something that they read in a book that means nothing. It means that the continuation of pain and suffering since the beginning of time, since it started, is here today and will be here tomorrow unless you wake up. So my mission here, ladies and gentlemen, is to tell you that you stop talking about politics. Start talking about right and wrong. Start talking about good and evil. And what is good? Good is working for everybody. Good is everybody engaged in the process. So you find some way to make this happen. Make a way that everybody can find that if they go inside of themselves, search themselves, they will come up with something that they would love doing and would give them their greatest joy. You, my friends, find some way to engage people so they will do that. You yourselves, find some way to engage yourselves that everybody can be involved in what's going on and that it could come back to everybody. You figure that out. And so you can be happy. So all of you guys can be happy. Stop trying to take advantage of people talking about you smart, talking about you went to this school and now you are a lawyer sitting up in courtrooms talking about protecting rights when you're lying and cheating and falling down all on your knees, falling to the devil. And this is absolutely true. I know Facebook might say, well, I don't want you saying that. Well, God told me to say it. God told me to tell all of American people and people all over the earth, unless you're trying to end this stuff, end this pain and suffering for people that are feeling this, then that means you don't care anything about them. If you don't care anything about them because they are a different race, you don't care anything about them because they're a different gender, you don't care anything about them because their sexuality is different than yours, that is because you are guided by Satan and not by love. I'm telling you that, ladies and gentlemen, the absolute truth. Now, if you, for God, I'm going to tell you, and you really stand up, there's going to be those in the world, people who are blind, that's going to love you. They might not have no way to show you. But there are going to be people in the world that's going to hate you because you're tearing down their kingdom. You're exposing the evilness that it represents. And when you do that, that means mostly everybody that's benefiting from the system will go against you. I will tell you, people require you, if you are going to live in the world, they don't believe your faith in God unless somebody trying to kill you. They don't believe that stuff. Because why? Because they know theirs is fake and phony. They know that if you give them a good little challenge, they'll change that stuff in a moment, in a minute. So don't you think they believe you? You grew up with them. You've been living with them, sleeping with them. How are you going to be so bold to do more and do better and be bolder? How can you be willing to put your life on the line standing up for truth? They aren't. And they're going to require that you act just like they act in the world. That's how you're going to have to glorify God, the same way they glorify God, where God don't get no glory. And pain and suffering keeps on. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, but think about this thing. Being born again is no game. Being a child of God is no game. It's a way of life. And it becomes filled with responsibilities. Responsibilities of a whole, look how you got to do. Think about the people that's suffering, the people that's running from pain and suffering, the people who are saying, help us, God, if you're someplace, help us. Now, they would love for God to open up the sea, or open up the sky and rain some help, but that ain't happening. So he's looking for the people out there in the world that say they know God. Where's that help? Where's that help? Oh, man, no. When you out there about money, me, and my, you don't give a stink about anybody but yourself. Now, YouTube, you know I'm telling the truth. The preachers in the church, let me think about it. Those mega churches, you know how those preachers reaping all that money, telling me how God is blessing them? How many times have they told you how you can get blessed? They tell you to do this and to do that and do this and do that, and you can get blessed. But how many times if they told you do this and y'all will be blessed? How many times have they said if you do, they say put $1,000 in seed here, you're going to get this? How many times have they said if you act this way, then everybody will be able to eat? If you act this way, then everybody will be able to have education. If you act, how many times have these mega preachers told you that? I'm talking about the whole nation of people will be able to have health care. How many times have they told you that? No, they tell you, you can get your blessing. Now everybody in the church saying, well, she spent $1,000, she got a little blessing. Now you get everybody in the church spending $1,000 trying to buy a blessing from God. And they ain't getting nothing. But that preacher got a bigger car, bigger home, and his congregation is growing. And somebody come around and tell you the truth, and you say, where that food come from? Come on. Need I say more? Until next time, goodbye.